You may like this, you may not. Before I started my ViperFish campaign on Kickstarter, I had a feeling that if I managed to get around 20% to 30% funded in the first couple of days, then I would get fully funded. I have to admit, this isn't based on any sort of statistical research or such. It's more of a gut feel from having hundreds of Kickstarter campaigns on my watch list at any one time, and watching how each of them unfold. I would generally notice, and note the word generally here, that if a project was only, say, 5% funded on the first day, it would be unlikely to make full funding. Here's a snapshot of my funding during the first few days. In the above screenshot, you can see I had reached around £3,000 in the first 2 days before funding slowed down. The funding goal was £7,700, so at £3,000 I was almost 40% funded in the first couple of days. A few points here. Number one, I had broken the 30% barrier, which, statistically speaking, meant my project now had a 90% chance of being funded. Number two, I expected the campaign to slow right down and funding to be slow, steady grind upwards once the first couple of days had passed. This turned out to be true. And number three, I was certain my campaign would be funded, without taking any drastic action such as adding more or different rewards or hitting up friends and family again, that kind of thing, because I had reached 40% in those first couple of days. Had I only done 20% in the first couple of days, then I would have been concerned. Only 10% and I'm pretty sure my project would have failed to get funding. And number four, I did not do so much promotion in the first campaign. I did, which shows in the graph above that I just showed you, in the slow, steady grind of funding over the remaining days of the project. Take a look at this graph. During the third week of this campaign, you can see that the project spent around the entire week bouncing below the £6,000 level. I think it was a combination of the middle of the campaign lull, as well as new backers coming on board, and current backers starting to have doubts about the funding and backing out. I came up with an ingenious plan to slingshot my campaign into being funded when it looked like it was going to fail. But I'll talk about that in another video.